Okay, so get this. We're diving into New W Cold War 2.0, Artificial Intelligence in the New Battle by George S. Takach.
Yeah, this one really digs into how tech is the new battleground for, like, freedom itself.
Real kidding. It's kind of intense, right? Like Takach is saying, whoever masters these accelerator technologies, AI, chips, biotech, that's who writes the rules for the century.
It's actually a point he makes really well, that democracies are practically hardwired for this kind of race.
Right. Like we've seen this before.
Exactly. He uses the printing press as an example.
Oh, yeah. Good one.
Suddenly, information's everywhere, not just for the elite. Boom, scientific revolution.
And that's what freaks out autocratic regimes.
Competitive displacement, it's in our DNA.
Which is good for us, but okay, hold on, because Takach doesn't let us off that easy.
Not even close.
He gets into how China's using AI, and not just for like self-driving cars or whatever, we're talking mass surveillance straight out of a dystopian movie.
It's actually terrifying. He talks about classrooms where AI tracks if students are paying attention or not.
Wait, serious?
Dead serious. And they're flagging the ones who aren't. It's like something out of Black Mirror, but it's happening now.
It's like, on one hand, we've got ChatGPT and all that, but then you have this whole other level of tech control. It's a trip.
And that's just AI. Then you get into the semiconductor war.
Oh yeah, the chip stuff, that's a whole other beast.
People think chips, they think what's in my phone.
Uh-huh.
But Takach nails it. They're in everything.
They're basically the brains behind everything these days.
And the US knows it too. The book talks about how we've cut off China from the most advanced chips.
It's gotta hurt.
Big time. It's having huge ripple effects. Like, remember how China was trying to build their own version of a Boeing jet?
Yeah, I haven't heard much about that lately.
Takach says those chip sanctions are a big reason why it's like trying to build a Ferrari with a lawnmower engine.
Ouch. Yeah, that's not good.
And it shows even a superpower like China have vulnerabilities in this new Cold War.
It's like a tech stranglehold. But wait, there's more, right?
Right. Because then there's quantum computing. Right? And here's where it gets even crazier. China's actually ahead of the game in some ways with this stuff.
No way, really? I thought we were winning the quantum race.
It's not that simple. The book talks about how they launched this satellite a while back.
Okay.
And it uses quantum communication. The idea being it's basically unhackable.
Whoa, hold on. So, like, our spy satellites could be useless against this thing.
That's the idea, and it gets worse. If they can perfect this tech, imagine a world where they know every secret, every move we make.
Okay, I'm officially creeped out now.
Yeah.
Let's talk about something a little less Black Mirror-y. How about some biotech?
Oh, you mean the tech that could literally rewrite what it means to be human?
Whoa, when you put it like that.
Yeah, I guess so.
Takach doesn't hold back. He talks about artificial wombs. Imagines solving population crises on demand.
Okay, that's insane, and I don't even know how to process that ethically.
That's the point he's making. This isn't just about who's got the cooler gadgets anymore.
No.
It's about two completely different visions of the future clashing. Right, like freedom versus control all played out through tech.
Exactly. On one side, you have democracies built on openness and individual liberty. On the other, you have these autocratic regimes using tech for social engineering.
Okay, so it's open source versus the matrix, basically. But if democracies are so good at innovation, what's the game plan here? How do we not screw this up?
Takach has a pretty radical idea. He calls it tech decoupling.
Tech what now?
Decoupling, basically, it's building walls, but instead of bricks and mortar, we're talking code firewalls, export bans, whatever it takes to keep these accelerator technologies out of the wrong hands.
So we're talking about like taking an economic hit now to protect ourselves later.
That's the gist of it, and he's honest about the challenges.
Yeah.
It means democracies have to work together like never before.
Right, because if we're cutting off certain countries, we need to make sure we can still trade and innovate with our allies.
Exactly, it's this whole balancing act. But his point is, if we don't, the alternative is way worse.
So it's like a high wire act with the free world at stake. But okay, Takach isn't just gonna leave us hanging, right? There's gotta be more to the strategy.
Right, he's got this whole other angle, and it's kind of surprising. He says we need to be stronger from the inside out.
Okay, I like the sound of that, but what does that even mean in this context?
So he's talking about investing in education, big time. Critical thinking skills, that kind of thing.
Right, make sure people can spot fake news and think for themselves.
Exactly. He says that's got to be job number one for democracies, because you can have all the tech in the world.
But if people don't know how to think critically or they don't care about freedom...
You're in trouble. And he uses this great analogy of the immune system.
Okay, I'm listening.
Like, you can have the best border security ever,
Yeah.
but if your immune system's shot, you're still going to get sick.
Right. So for us, it's about being resistant to disinformation, having strong institutions, and never ever taking our freedom for granted.
Nailed it. It's about building those inner defenses.
Man, this book is really making me think. It's kind of overwhelming, but also empowering,
Totally.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Takach is going for. He wants us to see the urgency, but also the agency we have.
Right, like we can actually shape this future. It's not some foregone conclusion.
Exactly. It starts with conversations like this, being informed citizens, pushing for policies that make sense.
And not being afraid to stand up for what we believe in, even when it's hard.
Especially when it's hard.
Yeah.
That's what makes democracy strong.
This has been an intense but really important conversation. I think everyone needs to read this book.
Agreed. It's a wake-up call, but also a reminder of what's at stake and why we need to fight for it.
For sure. Well said. So everyone listening out there, thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Let's keep asking the tough questions and never stop exploring these big ideas.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Until next time.